Hello, my name is William Blake. I'm the Assistant Town Administrator, and with me today is the Town Administrator, Evan Broussard, for the 4th episode of Municipals. Kicking off with some announcements, next week is the Fall Town Meeting on Monday, October 20th, beginning at 7 p.m. in the Grafton High School Auditorium.
Grafton Rec's annual friendly trick-or-treat will be on Wednesday, October 22nd from 3 to 4. This event is designed for children ages 5 and under, but all are welcome and costumes are encouraged.
They are.
And if you have time to do that, it's a good time. Everybody in the Municipal Center really gets into it. PD and fire come down. And
last year we had 1,000 kids come through the building.
I don't think so, but I thought it was more like 300 to 400.
Oh, well, we should start over because this is embarrassing now.
No, we'll keep going.
Next bullet point. The Affordable Housing Trust will be holding a housing forum on November 6th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Community Housing Barn. This forum will have speakers from the Grafton Affordable Housing Trust, the Massachusetts Housing Partnership, and the Citizens Housing and Planning Association.
Thanks. It's also being held at the Community Harvest Barn.
What did I say?
Community Housing Barn.
Well, I am not doing well today.
No, it's okay though. We'll get you up to speed. The Board of Assessors cyclical inspections started on October 15th. A complete list of streets included in this round of inspections can be found on the town's website. Great information for taxpayers. Everybody loves the assessor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thankfully that is the last announcement, so I won't mess anything else up. And with us today, our newest municipal, Chief Eric Mathieu of the Grafton Fire Department.
How you doing?
Well, thank you for being with us, Chief.
No problem. Kind of excited about this.
This is exciting. You are the senior chief in town. You are the chief. You're no longer Mr. Mathieu.
That was, you move up, even if it's through attrition.
That's the only way. That's the only way.
Yep. I like your outfits today too. That's very fitting.
Thank you.
Got to wreck the home team.
Thank you. Will and I planned that. We gave ourselves several notes so that we would not forget, because we figured one of us would surely forget.
It is in both of our calendars.
Yeah.
Mess with Chief Mathieu.
Yes.
Wait,
Exactly.
quartership.
So maybe we'll just jump right into it. We got some questions. Maybe we'll just have a little chat.
Sure.
Will, why don't you ask the first question, because I think it's dumb.
Okay, fair enough. Wow, that hurts. That hurts a lot.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to start by talking about what brought you to the field of firefighting. I feel like, it's a calling for most people who pursue this line of work. And when did you decide that that's what you wanted to do? How long have you been doing it? Sort of what brought you here today?
Oh, so you made it way more broad than why do you want to be a firefighter?
So mine goes back to the old cliche, like chasing fire trucks as a kid on my bike. My family was always involved in emergency services. My grandfather was a sergeant in town here for a while. On the police department, my grandmother dispatched for a short time and was a matron for the police department. So there was always a scanner going in every house that we went to. And if there was a fire nearby, it was almost like a family event. We went and checked it out, and it was always something I was interested in. And as they say, the rest is history, but I went through school knowing that that's what I wanted to do, and Grafton's opportunity of getting on when I was in high school was a key part in that, and got the bug, and I'm sure you'll be able to explain the bug later, but that's pretty much it. The camaraderie and all that has just kept it going, and I absolutely love it. So.
Excellent. So you said you started on the Grafton department when you were in high school, and then you also worked in Acton?
Yes.
Is that correct? So only those two departments, or have you?
Only those two. I did also work as a EMT for a few private ambulance services as well. I got my EMT when I was 19 and did that for a few years to get some experience, and then joined Acton when I was 23. And then spent 22 years there and left there as a lieutenant.
Excellent. A lot of really good information from a dumb question. So take that, Evan.
Yeah. When did you, how old were you in high school when you started?
I was 16, or actually just before I turned 17.
And at the time, would they let you out of school if there was a fire?
If it was really big, they would, but it wasn't that common.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. That was a practice that I don't think they really do as much anymore.
No, actually, we have one member that is in high school right now. He's 18, so he's able to get on the department. and he has open privileges
Okay.
at the school. So when he's, you know, in a study or whatever, he can actually go off campus, and he's actually answered a couple of calls
Wow.
during school hours, so it's worked out. And our response times at the high school, we just check him off as we're there as soon as the alarm goes off, because
Yeah.
he's in the building.
Okay. You're right. Exactly. That's the way to do it.
He actually has 2 lockers, one for his school stuff, one for his fire stuff
There you
up
go.
there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Fire alarms have increased by 55%. So you did all that. You came up through the ranks. And why did you want to be the chief here in Grafton?
I wanted to be a part of the growing the department. After being a member, I was 20, almost 30 years when I became the chief. I'd worked under a lot of great officers and a lot of great chiefs, and I knew that we had to progress more, and with the opportunities with my background to be able to do that and try to keep it in-house was a huge thing, so that we could continue, you know, the progress we'd already made, and keep it in-house.
Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely. Did you have to do any credentialing for that, or?
Yes, there's. I just after I got the job, part of my requirements was to get credentialed through the Mass Chiefs Association, and that is they take basically all your education over the years and grade it on a point system, and you need some recommendations and stuff from other people that you've worked with in order to get credentialed. And I also took a chief fire management class through the Mass Fire Academy.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of things I did other than the experience.
When you go to the chief school, you go over like budgeting and other stuff beyond just the fire, like the actual
There's
firefighting?
almost no actual firefighting
Yeah,
stuff involved. It's all the background stuff, like you said, the budgeting, heavy on HR responsibilities, you know, right down to ethics and all that stuff. So it's you know, and even into policy writing, there was a whole big section on that and stuff. So,
And I think, so just maybe the year before you got hired is when Grafton switched to the strong chief with the understanding, or the way the article was written, it would go into effect when they hired a full-time chief.
yes.
So how do you find that? I mean, I'm sure there's pros and cons to, you know, strong chief versus not strong chief in other communities.
Before you answer that, can I ask a follow-up question for people who might not know?
Yeah.
What is the difference between a strong chief and a not strong chief?
So
If the bench over 220 pounds. No.
in high school or now?
Let's hope it's not now. Let me tell you.
So the basic difference is the strong chief has the ability to make decisions for the department, including hiring and personnel issues and stuff like that, with guidance from the town, and I answer directly to the select board, whereas a weak chief or
Non-strong chief.
would answer to whoever the appointing authority was. In this case, it would be Evan, or whatever town administration was in place. And I think there's pluses and minuses to both. It allows. I've never been a weak chief, so it's tough for me to say. But just from watching in other communities that I worked in and watching other chiefs, there was always a lot of at the town hall doing town hall business for the weak chief, because everything had to be approved every step of the way. And as a strong chief, I'm able to focus more on the problems or what we're working on at the time, and don't necessarily have to get permission all the time, so things are able to go a little smoother. I will say that Evan's a huge help, and you've been a huge help in a lot of the stuff that goes on. So I think a good collaboration, whether you're a strong or a weak chief, definitely helps. So.
And I think here in Grafton, just my opinion, like we all work so well together that it's less of a difference than it may be in other communities. You know, you might feel it a lot in other community, but here we all just want the same results. So we're just rowing in the same direction.
Excellent. So you mentioned that you worked in Acton. before taking on the full-time chief role here. I remember reading at one point, Grafton has the biggest or one of the biggest all-call departments in the state. Is that correct? How many how many call firefighters do we have?
So we currently have 60 members, and over the years we've fluctuated between 50 and 75. When we were at 75, I believe we were the biggest at the time, and that was probably in the 90s. Right now, as far as number of employees, I believe Carver, Mass. is the largest.
Okay.
And I want to say they have 85 members. I do believe we are the largest town that has a call fire department with our population just over 20,000. So,
Do you see a lot of differences between working in a full-time fire station versus a call fire station?
absolutely. Good and bad. Some of the good things is that generally the people that are on the call department do the job because they enjoy it and because they know they're helping out, whereas on the full-time side, there are people that take the job because of the benefits or the hours and stuff like that. And not to say that they're bad firefighters or anything, but it makes it, it is their job, not necessarily their calling, you know, is a good way to put it.
Yeah. You probably see a lot. I mean, just going to the limited amount of events I've gone to with Grafton Fire Department being there, the call people, they want to be there. That's their passion, as opposed to it being something you're interested in, but also a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't seem like those people are in it for the call people are in it for the money. They're in it because they love what they do and they love helping their community. Plus, you have to be from Grafton, so it's about as direct of an input as you can have in the system, you know. Oh yeah.
Over to you, boss.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot. We'll switch back and forth. Do you want to talk just real briefly on your increase in public engagement? So we see a lot more on social media. You just hosted the select board at a live fire training, and really trying to kind of bring the public a little bit in on what you're doing on a daily basis. How's that going, and what impact do you think that's had so far?
It's going very well. We've actually, I believe, had some recruitment come through it, which is nice, and letting people know what we actually do and that we are busy, and, you know, right down to why did the fire truck go by today, and they can check it out on Facebook or whatever social media they're on. We're trying to expand some of our stuff, but we're not a bunch of tech savvy people. So the members are good about, you know, taking pictures from scenes, or at least, you know, of the crew that was on the scene, and, you know, letting people know we're out there, and especially, you know, trying to document our training and stuff so people know that we're prepared to do the job. So.
I will say, I think the department's done a great job with that. We don't interact on a day-to-day basis, but I still feel like I know what's going on just seeing the social media feed of everything that you do on a week-to-week basis. There's a lot of good information that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even I know there's a lot of people in town that listen with scanners.
Yep.
Because I do hear that quite a bit from folks, and of course I'm listening quite regularly, and it is a busy department for a call department. I mean, it's a lot of calls. It's a lot of you on the radio. It's a lot of Deputy Chief Canoyer, depending on which direction of the highway we're on.
Yep.
A lot of that kind of stuff. So it's impressive just how many calls are answered by the same handful of people.
Yeah.
But I also want to just digress for a second, because you do seem to have really good response, kind of regardless of time of day, from the call contingent.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. It depends on the severity of the call. You know, when we get a call for a smoke detector sounding because somebody burnt their food and we know that there's not an active fire, we won't get people during the day that are going to leave their jobs in order to do that. So it'll be a small number of people that will respond to take care of something like that. But on average, if we have a serious motor vehicle accident or a structure fire, it's not uncommon for us to get 20 or so people to respond, which is really good.
Yeah.
So, and that's the same at night because people's shifts are different and stuff like that. So we're probably 20 to 30 people at night, which is excellent.
Yeah, no kidding. That's pretty impressive. Now it's your turn, Will.
It is, yes. I'm going to digress from what we have going on here right now because I feel like that's a good final question. But is there anything the fire department does or offers that you feel like residents should know about that you don't see them take advantage of often?
We do offer some stuff through the senior center. As far as we have a senior safe program that involves smoke detectors. And if you're a senior that can't fix your own smoke detector or whatever, you can call us and or get in contact with us through the senior center. We'd be able to send somebody out to update your smoke detectors so that you're in compliance and your home's safe. So we're starting to build on more stuff like that as the years go on, but that's probably one of the biggest things right now.
I think you do I think it's annually or biannually training in the senior center where we talk about, smoke detectors, but also like slips, trips, and falls, and just basically at-home safety, what the fire department's going to respond to, those type of things.
Yep. Their Deputy Chief Canoia and firefighter Jonkus that this past year.
Yeah.
It was great success.
Yeah, I was, able to just go down and just observe for a little while, and it was a great training. People had really good questions, questions that I wouldn't have thought of, but it were good to know. They distributed those little grabber things, the hooks that you squeeze, and those things were like hotcakes. They were gone right away. Slip mats for the bathroom, handles for the bathroom. A lot of really good information, and then also gave out some things to help seniors in their homes. So that was really cool.
Well, I think that goes back to your point about residents of Grafton being on the fire department. I remember Deputy Chief Canoia coming into the office that day and being genuinely excited to to go do that training in the senior center. Yeah. I don't think I've seen him that excited about anything since that day.
No, most certainly not.
Which is...
Was there a microphone involved?
There was a microphone involved.
If there's a microphone.
He likes that.
He's pretty
It's his
excited
thing.
about it, generally.
Yeah. Well, that, and he got to make fun of Mr. Jonkus for 20 minutes straight.
Oh, yeah. That would do it too.
It was pretty rough, but entertaining at the same time.
Somehow I am not surprised knowing Deputy Chief Canoia.
No. Do we want to talk briefly about the fire training that the select board went to?
Yeah.
Over the weekend, because I thought that's pretty interesting and unique. I don't know that every town's doing that.
Yeah, there's been a few towns over the years. I can't say that I came up with the idea myself, but we did invite the select board to join us at a live fire training we did at the Auburn training facility, which is part of our fire district. We pay into that yearly in order to use the building, and it's been a great asset over the last couple of years for us. But we brought the select board in and got them all set up in gear, including Evan came as well. 3 members came, and plus Evan, and they were in full gear, SCBA and everything. We were able to bring them into a live fire event so that they could see the fire and actually watch the crews come in and put the fire out until you couldn't see anything anymore. So it's definitely enlightening for people that haven't seen it and haven't had the training. So I'm sure you could speak more to that than...
Yeah, someone that's never been through it before. And I do think, I spoke to a couple of the select board members afterwards, and I think it was a really good exercise because they get a little bit of a taste of what folks are going through, and they also learn a little bit about what the different pieces of gear do and why they're expensive and why we need to continually fund the replacement of these things over time, because that's important.
Yeah.
Right. The SCBA's, the tanks have like a 10-year shelf life or something.
Yeah, it's 15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, turnout gear has a shelf life. Everything does.
Yeah.
And you got, from a funding standpoint, it's good to have people that are in control of some of that stuff understand that these are important purchases that we're making. It's not just because the new tank is a different color. It's
It's not because it looks cool, but when you actually have to wear it to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Because as we pointed out in the building, we have our thermal imager cameras, and the temperature of the room on the floor is anywhere from 100 to 250 degrees, and then the ceiling temperature is up over 1,000 degrees. So you need that gear in order to survive.
Right.
So.
So when we were in there, I was with, can't remember the fire,
Lieutenant John.
Lieutenant John. Yeah. It was confusing because he's also an Eric.
Yeah.
So Chief Eric and Lieutenant Eric were having conversations about what Eric was going to do. And I was like, this is how I die. I don't know which Eric I'm supposed to be following. No, but he was my guide in that, which was awesome. Really nice guy. And, brought me in. And what I was not, the heat I think I was prepared for because the other two select board members had come out before me and said, it's real hot. And then, took off their gear and they were just dripping with sweat. So I was like, okay, it's not regular hot. It's going to be real hot. Yeah. So I think I was a little bit more prepared for that because I didn't go first, but I wasn't prepared for the lack of visibility. So immediately when I walked through the door, my face mask fogged up. So I started using a little regulator thing to get some air in there. Still couldn't see. So the lieutenant grabbed my arm and pulled me forward. Yeah. But then as soon as I got in the room, it was so hot that mask went, like you could see perfect. It cleared up immediately. Yeah. But then within a minute, it was so smoky in there you couldn't see anything. He was showing me the thermal camera, and there was other people in the room that were 8 feet from us that I wouldn't have known were there at all. You couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So, and then the other part I knew was coming because of the other people had to go first. Andy and Mark Alamo went first, which was great because I was like, oh, they made it out. I can do this. But they, when they put the water on the fire and the steam goes up and kind of rolls some of the heat off the ceiling, but also it's just instant hot water falling on you. And now it's steam, so there's even more that you can't see. That was pretty intense. Yeah. So I was thankful for the experience. I don't think that it's something I want to do every day, but it's cool that there are people that do. And it was also neat to watch. Again, only on the thermal camera could I really see what was happening, but watch the firefighters come in, crawling on their knees essentially with the hose line, start putting water on it. One person had the thermal imager to show where the hot spots were so the person could continue to cool it off. So it was very enlightening.
I was unable to attend, but all this reaffirms is that I am not cut out to be a firefighter. I don't think I can do that. Well, that is impressive.
We'll be booking more next year, so yeah. if you want to jump in,
I would definitely come and do it. I could not do that on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
I spent I was talking to my family about it, and I think I told you. So my youngest daughter Anya was teary-eyed when I was leaving the house in the morning, and I'm like, dude, I'm just going to Auburn. I'll be right back. And she's like, I don't want you to die. And I was like, well, this is an omen. I should not be doing this. But obviously I survived. But I just think that it's definitely something that, again, it was a good experience for me to go through. I think that's the point. I think that's why you invited us, and I think why I jumped at the opportunity to do it, because it's definitely a unique experience. But I spent more time talking to my family and thinking about when you go in, we knew what to expect in that building to a certain extent, but you're going into places that you've never been in before. You don't know what people's layouts are. They've got furniture, they've got stuff, and other things that they own inside the house, and you're trying to find somebody.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see you a foot and a half to my left, let alone the baby in the crib or the person that's sleeping on the couch or whatever it is, which to me was, a terrifying thought, to have to try to find folks in there.
And that's why we do the training, is because a lot of you lose one of your senses, or a lot of your senses, when you go in there in a burning building. And we train to learn what everything feels like, and use our hearing, to go, when you're in there, when you're breathing, the sound of just the breathing apparatus is loud, and it's difficult to talk through. But we train people that when they first enter a room to actually stop breathing, so they can hear if there's a voice or if somebody's moaning or something like that, and even just how to get to where the fire is. You can hear the fire crackling down the hallway and feel the radiant heat and stuff like that. So that's a lot of the stuff that goes into that training and why that building itself is really invaluable to be able to get that live fire stuff. So.
Yeah. Amazing stuff.
It is. And I think it's amazing that you include the select board and really, again, going back to the public engagement, try to let everybody know how much goes into keeping the department running at the capacity that it's running at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's something that we've talked about too, beyond the fire department, is having select board members come and I've for years, I've told them that they should sign up for a ride along. Go do 2 hours. You don't have to do the whole day. Go do 2 hours with an officer and see what that's like.
Yeah.
Because it's not, Grafton's a unique place in that it's not all violent crime,
Yeah.
but you have to switch gears really quickly. You go from a call about a neighbor getting leaves blown onto their lawn from the other neighbor to a domestic dispute in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And you have to be able to flip that switch between the two. And it's much like, I think, what the fire department has to deal with, which is the routine call of the smoke alarm or the smell of gas. I hear a lot, and those kinds of stuff, things that are kind of routine to now you've got to switch gears and you're going into a fully, whatever you call it.
Fire.
Involved.
Yeah, involved. That's the word I was looking for. The word I was thinking was not that, and I knew it wasn't the word I should be using. We probably have to start the podcast again.
We're too far gone at this point.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, we'll fix that in post. Bill, make a note.
Yeah.
But the point I was going to get at there is, you've done a lot of good work as chief of the Grafton Fire Department. What are some outstanding goals that you have? Where do you want to take the department? What would you like to see the town do better or do more of?
That's tough. We've done a lot of good things in a short amount of time. Right now, I'm trying to keep those things going. And the department's going to continue to change as the town changes with, population growth and stuff like that. So definitely in the future is more full-time staff and things like that. And what I want to do and a goal is to be able to integrate a full-time staff with the call staff, because I feel the call staff is very important. And I've seen, around the country, different departments where as soon as you bring in full-time staff, it really kills the morale of the call department. And I want to keep that from happening. I want a place where everybody works, together, they train together and all that. And that's probably will be the biggest challenge, but also like you said, a goal that I would like to be able to bring in. So.
And I think that all flows from the chief, and right. So you see these places where it doesn't work out. I think it's natural to have that strife. But if the chief's vision is to integrate those two, I think you or a like-minded chief could make that happen. And I do also want to just note, like your comment about just trying to kind of keep what you've done going, because you are understaffed. But I also, excuse me, I do think that you have to look at where we were or where you were 2 years ago as opposed to where we are now, and the leaps and bounds of different programs and different things that have gone on, and the morale changes and the direction of the department and the growth of the department and all those things. You can't just do new things all the time. Yeah. You have to be able to make the systems you introduced last. And I think you're doing a really good job of trying to make sure that the new things that are introduced survive and stay valid. So
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've said it before, and Will doesn't know any better, but I think you're a great chief. You've been great to work with, and so I'm extremely happy to be here in Grafton and working with you, and to a lesser degree, Will.
I will say you are my favorite currently sitting fire chief in the town of Grafton.
Well, I appreciate that, considering we have a sitting deputy chief. So,
well, we all know where that list falls.
Yeah, he's not on the list. He's on a different list.
That's a different list altogether.
Talking about all the good work you've done over the past couple of years, what would you say your proudest accomplishment as chief has been?
I would say, and I don't know if you noticed it, I mentioned it to Andy at the training we had 20 plus firefighters show up to the training, and even after working all day You know, it was a warm, sunny day. Ended up at the end, I think we had done 6 fire evolutions, including all of that, everybody being gassed. When we were cleaning up, everybody was smiling, getting along, helping each other out. And just to know that I had something to do with that is like, I'm set. You know, that's one of the things that I'm very happy about is the morale and how the firefighters treat each other and get along. So
Terrific.
yeah.
I know you're not interviewing me, but I have something to say as well.
Yes,
No,
you, sir. Far end of the table.
No, so having been there and, you know, it's hard to not be a town administrator when you're at any of these municipal type of functions and looking at it. I mean, I spent literally, I was telling Chief, first thing I got out of my car was like, oh, the procurement on this must have been a nightmare. The first thing I think about. But, like, you know, just being at that event and watching the chief do, and it's going to sound odd, but very little. Because, and I asked you about this, and you said, oh, this isn't, you know, I don't really have to do anything because I'm observing the people that I've train other people. So he's, you know, which is the exact right way to do it. You shouldn't be micromanaging every aspect of the thing. But that was really neat to see. And the people that you have in key positions that have expertise to run the training and do all of those things, that was really neat. The other thing I thought was interesting is, you know, I went into it with a predetermined plan because, you know, nobody wants the town administrator to hang around at their event, right? Or select board members or whatever. I mean, even if you're nice people, it changes the dynamic a little bit. But it didn't really feel that way at this event. They were super accommodating. Everybody just seemed happy that you were there and took an interest. And so I thought that was really indicative of a good culture because it wasn't, let's wait for the town administrator's here. Everybody be on your best behavior, and then we'll flip a switch as soon as you leave. They were already only on their semi-best behavior while I was there, which is I'm only partially kidding. That's a really good sign because everybody feels comfortable being who they are and doing the work that they're trained to do. So I thought it was awesome. Really, really good group of people.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have one final question for you.
Okay.
It is not serious at all, but it's something I've been curious about since you said it at the start of the episode.
It's water, Will. They spray water.
Unless you're from New Jersey,
That's right.
then it's water.
Then it's water. I did notice that at least half the firefighters in Grafton say hot instead of hot. I did notice that. It's real hot.
You mentioned that public service runs in your family. You said your father was a sergeant, correct?
My grandfather.
Grandfather was a sergeant. Do you outrank everybody in your family now? And do you ever pull out the I'm the chief card at family gatherings?
I do outrank everybody. My brother is also a lieutenant on the state police. So it was, for a little while, we were both lieutenant. Well, he was a sergeant and I was a lieutenant. So once I got over him there but no, I remind them all the time. You gotta take the little bit that you get.
There you go. Yeah. I remind people at home, I'm the town administrator, and they do not care.
No.
Yeah. What, and your son's on the department.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, my son.
I got out of my car and I was like, it looks like a taller, better looking Mr. Mathieu.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be my son, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool to see that too.
Yeah.
That tradition of public service continuing.
Yeah, we have a few members that have family, you know, in Grafton as well, or at least working, you know, in other departments and stuff. So there is definitely a lot of stuff when they say it's in the blood. It truly is.
Yeah, really neat.
Yeah, very cool. Evan, anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Chief, any last minute things you want to talk about?
I think we covered a bunch of stuff, so I think I got it all out there. Other than, you know, the public service announcement that as a fire chief I always have to do is it's time to change our clocks coming up. So remember, change your clocks, change your batteries and your smoke detectors, and make sure and test them monthly. So,
excellent. Well, Chief, thank you for being with us today. We will be back next month for another episode of Municipals. Until then, I'm William Blake.
And I'm Evan Broussard.
And we'll see you next month.